Welcome everyone to this short but interesting webinar on a few tips, my viewpoints, and a different approach on how you could go and do better at your interviews. All right. So what you see here is not an exhaustive list of all that you need to do, but according to me, the top few points as to what one has to do differently to make a different or a bigger, better impact during your interviews. So I have a few slides that I want to run through, but I also have a few polls that I want each of the audience who's listening in live to take it. As I host this video, I will also host these polls on the video page, and I want you to take a chance even when you're watching this video to be able to participate in the polls and be able to look at those results. This is just to gauge different viewpoints and what we understand from the industry and so far. There are over 100 participants in this session, and I've muted everyone. If there is a question, please use the chat. However, I may not be able to address every question depending on the time that I've allotted for the session, but we'll try and do justice as much as I can. So let's get started with the first set of what you may be expecting in this session and what this session is not about. So number one, this is not a magic wand. It is not a trick that will really make you succeed. It is not something that is going to add skill onto you. It is not something that will add an experience to what you have. But yes, it will motivate you personally. It will give you an edge, and it will help you focus. But more importantly, I just want to make sure that this is not something that will make you fall off your chair. But yes, a few viewpoints that will probably start you thinking how people react to situations and what happens really in this whole interview process and so on. So I have, before I get started with about 10 points that I have made, I have a poll that I want to run. The way this poll will run is very easy. I have a link that I'm going to put in the chat. I want you to click on this link in the chat, and you will see a question that will come up. And that question will give you an idea about what the question is. Let me pull up that question at my end as well. There you go. So if you had recently appeared for any of the interviews, what do you think has been predominantly important, or why is it that you got selected for one of these jobs? Okay. Or if you know friends who've been in the industry, if they've been successful in getting a job, what do you think really helped them? So choose your selection and submit your response. I would be able to track. Let me give about 60 seconds for you to be able to submit this response, and then we will look at the different responses that you have. Hopefully you've by now completed the poll. I will also post this link on the video page so you can use it to post. But let's take a quick look at what I've got so far as responses. Okay, so I've got close to a few dozens of them, about 100 plus. So if I look at what it is and see which really played a lot, and let's say I clear everything and just select all of the above to see how many people have done all of the above, and I copy all of them to see the count. Wow, I have over 65. So out of the close to 100 responses, I would say between 60 to 70% are specifically pointing to the fact that all of the above, in the sense that it is not just your technical expertise, it is not just your experience, but your attitude and how good of a team player you are counts a lot. And we in this webinar will try and focus in this attitude and team player concept and how you go about showing. It is not about your technical skill or your expertise that you bring or what you have in your resume. All right, thank you so much for participating in that. Now let's move bottom up, not specifically in the order, but what my top 10 reasons are, or top 10 attributes that you need to perform. Here's the first one. The first one is help them hire you. When I say them, with all due respect, I'm talking about the interview panel. The entire set of people who are looking to get one position filled. They want to fill this position as much as you want a job. As much as it is tough for you to find the right job sometimes, and it happens to me as well, it is equally tough for a company or a team to find a good talent and bring them on board. So definitely that is a big challenge for them, and you must make it easier to help them out, to be able to show them that yes, I'm here to make things easy for you. The whole selection process that you're going through, I understand what it is about, and then your whole viewpoint of how you start conversation with the people, respect their time, respect their involvement, and everything changes drastically. Remember this thing, you have to try and help in the interview process. You should be part of the solution. That's when it passes a very different energy level to the people who are trying to look at you. Right? The next point that I have is this. Everyone is playing a role. In the sense, when I say everyone is playing, it is not about they're trying to do something fishy. It is about saying that everyone has a role to meet. Everyone has different sets of expectation. Someone from account management or the overall client management and the sales side is more probably focused at the margins and the profits that can be made with a new hire. Or they're more concerned about the costs that incurred in hiring someone. But a PM is more worried towards the schedule of the project and how does one individual help in meeting that schedule. Will you fit in there? A team lead, however, might look at you for your skill, for your smartness, and how well will you be able to execute those level of tasks that will be assigned to you, right? So you understanding the fact that everyone needs to play their role, they're looking at you at different angle and trying to go with that mindset that yes, I understand what you're doing and I'm here and this is what I need to answer for you. For example, when you're in technical round, you don't want to go about talking to someone about price of how much is it going to cost to bring you on board and so on. Probably HR will be involved into that kind of a discussion. This goes way back in 2005 when one of the first mobile-based applications were being developed for the BlackBerry, and we wanted to do some web-based apps that will work on BlackBerry. And at that time, though we were focused more as an offshore team for developing and testing, we could not really ship BlackBerries from the US to the offshore location and get it tested or developed with. So the solution we could find out just by handling all the different parties in this is just the fact that yes, the client requires someone, we need to fill the position because it is important, the project needs to be on schedule, a lead needs to still get away from managing these minute details and have someone work, and we could then go internally and find someone who is willing to work on site at a lower rate, but at least give them that expertise of being one of the first mobile-based testing team and so on. So there are things that can be done once you know what role each of us are playing in this whole situation. This is a good one, number 8. It is focused on very important aspect. It is basically saying that your resume is your history. What you show as your profile on the piece of paper is history. You are the future. When I say this, what I mean is that once you walk into an interview, be it telephonic or be it face-to-face, what is being looked at is more of you than someone reading through your resume at that point in time. Yes, someone might use to scan it, but that is used as a reference point to start a discussion. What they are interested to see if you can be the future participant in that job role or not. So when you are asked questions, don't go very theoretically saying that, oh, in my resume I put this information, I put that information, and this is what it is and so on. Talk more in terms of what you've done briefly, but also try and focus on when I'm on this project, I wish to enhance my skill in this direction, bring my expertise from a previous project, having worked in specific technologies into this new project of yours and so on. Give them the future. Show them what they are looking to hire when they make the decision. The next one is about how is your attitude of trying to get this job. There are two things I believe, team, and it is a proper balance between these that is very important. One is saying that I don't want this job attitude, in the sense that going very simplistically, very casually, and saying that, you know what, I have many offers, this doesn't matter to me, so I'm not really interested. Or trying to act not interested, saying that I don't want to show my desperateness, I want to still show that I have offers, I want to trick the participants and so on. That really does not work, because as much as you are trying to get in, we are also struggling to find the right resource every time. And when I say you and I, just referring to the roles in this case. Also, I want this job, please, in terms of being very desperate and saying that, you know what, I want this job. This is very important for me. I have to, I will be really grateful if you give me this job or opportunity. No. Rather, the next time you go in, show your interest genuinely that, yes, this is the job I'm looking at. I'm really passionate about it. I want to get in. Rather than saying, give me the job and I'll be grateful to you. Use words like, give me the job and you will see what I couldn't do for the project and how productive I can get to be. All right. So just this small change in attitude of how we walk in, even if it's on the telephone, it is so easy to see the attitude of a person through the voice. Once you remember these few points, and I'll share the slides for you on the website that you can look at, all right? It'll really make a lot of difference. Let's look at number 6. The number 6 point is funny, but before that, there is a poll. Another poll, we are almost midway through the entire process, so I want you to take a quick look back again at the second question and take this poll, please. 60 more seconds for you, and would love to see the results once you put that in. I'm sure there'll be many more results coming in with 125 participants. So just a quick note for people who've just joined this webinar, I've started to present the various points that would differentiate you in how you go to your next interview and present yourself. Very subtle, simple attitude level points which will really help you in that direction. This second question, if I can point to that spreadsheet, is that assuming you were not selected recently, what could you have done better in a short period of time? Note this very well, team, please. In a short period of time, what could you have done to increase your chances? So, for example, I went to an interview recently, let's say a couple of weeks ago, and I had, let's say, about 2 weeks ago before that to think about, hey, you know what, I have an interview coming up in 2 weeks. What can I do differently in the next 2 weeks that will help me with this kind of improvement, that will make things better or increase my chances in the interview? And I'm sure there will be varied responses. I don't think there will be one response that may specifically do something in there. But I just want you to understand that there is a scope for improvement in everything we do. Yes, some things take time, some things can be done a little quicker just by knowing that, yes, that is an important thing. All right, so hopefully the responses are getting submitted. Let's look at the second one. Okay, we've got about 91, 92 so far. Let me give a few more seconds and then we'll look into it. So let's see if I filter down on clear all. There is no all of the above in this. There is better attitude. Clear all. Okay, the form is still getting updated, so I really cannot look at what it is right now. So I'll give it a few more seconds and then we'll look into the results. But if I quickly scan through what is coming up, you will see that improved technical skill, show being a team player, better attitude, improved technical skill. Yes, I see a lot more of improved technical skill. And I would, if I were to take this poll, I would have done that. If I have 2 weeks, definitely improve technical skill. If I have 2 days, then I would go and try and understand the nitty-gritties of someone who's working in that company or someone who's associated with that kind of a job, and look at and try and understand as to what really happens for that job, what kind of a people are required, and try and do that kind of a study if I have 2 days or 3 days left to before the interview. All right, I'm sure we've got enough. Hopefully one of my team members will be able to analyze, see how many have come for what and come back. But meanwhile, let's go back to this and look at what I wanted to do in number 6. I've almost shown it up early after poll 2. Few more seconds, team, and then we'll go. All right, so while we still wait for the results to come, and looks like they're up, we have a better attitude about 45 out of the 130 odd responses. And I think most of the other things are improved technical skills. So the focus has always been either we try and see how we could do improve technical skills or better attitude and so on. The easy part to know is that to improve technical skills, there are easy ways to do it, in the sense that you know that you learn a new tool or you learn a new skill or you learn what is the hottest thing in the market. There are trainings available, there are tutorials available that you can take. But to improve the attitude, it is all about what is even expected out of you. How do you present yourself? And that becomes very critical. What I have as the next point is a tricky thing to look at. Treat your interview as a date. Think of it that it is a date, not in the literal sense, but let's talk about the way you would present yourself if you're going for a date, or if you're going for a very important event and you're trying to having people look at you and people assess you. How would you dress? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you try and show your mannerisms to the people? And that is very essential. Just the thought that when I'm going in, I need to charm people. I really need to impress people when I'm talking or when I'm around people and make them feel really comfortable. That is very critical. It is not about being anxious or overdress or overdo things and so on, but being simple, humble, at the same time, absolutely presentable. This is both applicable for both telephonic and your face-to-face interviews. I'll tell you sometimes what happens is, for a telephonic interview, I could do everything, even sitting in shorts, sitting out of a beach or whatever, right? But if I really seriously dress up and be trim and everything, my whole mindset changes. The focus itself is different. So make sure that you're focused and go in a very, very presentable manner, especially when you go for face-to-face. My fifth point is primarily about shut up and listen. This is, again, trying to give you one simple advice that it is not about you trying to talk endlessly. Learn to be able to communicate in short, crisp sentences and try and keep your answers to the questions very related to the questions being asked. You should try and ask people questions which are genuinely interested and try and know more about what is it about the project. Why are they even looking to hire someone new? Has someone recently left? What is the most important thing for them? Try and genuinely ask them what is really causing issues. What is the priority? What is the biggest task that are coming up in the couple of in the next 2 weeks? Try and focus in asking those questions genuinely. The reason is, unless you think about the future and say that this is what I think when I join the job is important and start living it and ask those relevant questions, then the genuineness and your interest level will be shown there. All right, number 4 is be a future teller. I actually had this slide earlier as a tarot reader, but then you're not giving the future for the others. But when I say future teller, I'm saying that think of the interview as your day one at work with no strings attached. Your interview is your day one at work. A day two will exist if this day one goes well or not. Look at the difference of when a person comes in for an interview and when a person comes in for the first day of work. They are so comfortable, they're not as anxious, or they're not as worried as they were felt during the interview. They're more eager to know about what is in the project, what is going to happen, what is my role, what am I going to do. In the interview, we are all about, that is after I get selected. So I will ask you those questions when I get selected. Right now, it is just about, are you interested in me or not? No, let that not be the attitude. Think of it as your first day at work, how you would try and impress someone, how would you genuinely ask questions, try and find out. The reason I'm saying this is when you do that, you're actually giving a glimpse into the future for them, that once you are hired into the team, how would you start behaving? How would you start acting? So they're your new team members. The interview panel who's sitting in front of you are your new team members. Won't you ask the names? Won't you say what project are you working and so on? You are definitely given a chance for asking those questions. Take advantage of that time. So even if I am technically around the ballpark, not a great person, or I don't have exactly the related experience, but these kind of simple attitudes, simple steps will make someone lean against you. You see what I'm saying? So those kind of simple, even thinking about it and going with this attitude in mind will make significant difference. My point number 3 is back your strength. This is basically saying that everyone has their strength and weakness. For example, I have specific skills, specific tools that I'm good at, but I'm not good at everything that I do. So what that means is that there are certain areas that I'm very, very good, certain areas that I'm not so good at. You should try to switch conversations as much as you can towards your strength. Not cutting off all conversations, but just bringing up conversations in such a way that you move things back into your conversations. For example, I'll tell you something in the automation world itself, all right? So let's say if someone says that, hey, have you worked on let's say Selenium RC, okay? And you, let's say the project team is using Selenium remote control, but you have more expertise in Selenium WebDriver. And they ask you that, what do you do in Selenium RC? Your answer does not have to be that, you know what, I didn't do much in Selenium RC. You can rather say, hey, you know what, I did something, a little bit, one project in Selenium RC, but then I realized that Selenium WebDriver has a few better advantages over it, and this is what I started doing. This is how I replaced Selenium RC with a WebDriver code, and we found these results. What happens automatically is your tone is excited. You are talking about something you like and you are comfortable with, and that makes a different feeling. Plus, you have moved away from a question which is not very good for you to something you're more strong in. Let's say that you've really not worked on keyword-driven framework. And someone says that, you know, have you done keyword-driven framework? Say that, no, I have not, but I've done so much of data-driven framework and I've learned how we can interact with different databases and Excel. I'm really excited. I want to try keyword-driven framework, but I'm sure with what I've done, about 15, 16 projects on data-driven framework, I can easily pick up a new framework. So you keep focusing on what your strength has been. Keep backing up your strength as much as you can. All right, let's see. What's number 2? This is a very important one. This is something that I personally believe very strongly in. Love idols at work.com. What that means is where you're working, when you're working, you should really like the people around you and try and get along. I'm sure there are challenges. Everyone cannot work with everyone else. There is friction happening. But if you do not show love to your previous job, to your previous employment or your current job in your interview, you're giving a very wrong notion. What I'm saying is, you know what, I really like what I'm doing right now, or I really liked working in my previous project at the previous place, but I'm looking for a change for a bigger growth for me professionally. I feel that this job will give me the platform and that potential for me to grow to that next level, and that is what I'm looking at. Love where you came from. Show the fact that you've created idols at work and you've been learning from different people around you, and you're a very people-based person. The next and the number one point is, again, not in specific order, but makes difference. This does make a difference. Try it out. This is, can I follow you socially? So when you finish your interview and when you're really walking out of the interview, you can ask people their names, their last names or emails. I'm sure they would not deny from doing that. Send them a thank you note, send them a thank you email. But why don't you also send them to connect with you on LinkedIn or Facebook? What happens is, number one, you are retaining contact with the person. Plus, once they become friends with you online, it is a little tougher to say no to a friend. So you are getting more into the rigorous relationship building with people even after the interview, and that really helps for you when they want to make the decision. Because what happens is, typically the decision is not made immediately after you walk, unless it's too good or too bad. So if you are somewhere in the medium, which most of us will be, then the decision is still a few more days away. That means that you have time from the time you walk out of the room to the time the decision is made, and still can make a difference. And this is probably one of the ways you can do it. I have one more point, but before I go there, I wanted to show you the third point, and have you participate in it, please. Let me quickly put that up in the chat, and here you go. Oops. Okay, let's see what I have here as a question. All right, I think this is a generic question. This is not a question which is choose the answer, but this is a question more of what else do you think would help you in your next interview? I have presented 10 points. I would love to hear people, their feedback, your viewpoints, no names anywhere, no emails, but just what you think will really make the difference. And I want to share this on my website, that these are the different attributes that really will make one successful. I have presented what I believe as my strong 10 points. I want to look at what you think. It could be anything. It could be as subtle as what kind of a dress you wear. It could be as much as what gadgets you carry into the room, how you share your business cards, or I don't know, what you're doing while you're waiting to be called for the interview, whatever, right? So take your time, fill it up, and please do submit so that we can look at some of them, but I will post them going back into the website. So I already see about 20 coming in. So please take your time and start putting in a few more, and then we'll look at once we get back. Yeah, team, please put your whatever you're finding in this form. I'll put the URL again for you. So any viewpoints that you have, put it in, because what that will do is, not only are you putting your viewpoint, but you'll also get a chance to look at the viewpoint from everyone else. All right. So lots of them, I'm sure that, look at this, eye contact, smile, talk confidently, great. So great attributes that keep coming up specifically, and I'm sure each of them will help you. So as this list grows, you will see more and more entries coming in. Let's get back to the presentation. I have one more slide to show team. Okay, this is the 0 point, or one of the few things that sometimes we forget very often. It is play again. It's free. It's not the video. It's not this session, but it is about the fact that you are becoming better not by the number of success you have, team, but by the number of failures you have. We don't plan to fail, but every time we fail, absorb it, really embrace the failure, because that gives you so much of experience that success may never give you. That failure can teach you so many things emotionally, mentally, in all sorts of way, how to handle situations and how to become a more matured individual. And what that means is it is not about how many times you have appeared and so on. Keep doing it. Keep appearing for interviews. Do not shy away from it. For example, the first time I wanted to do these online webinars, I've been very hesitant. Can I even speak in front of an online audience? I've spoken in terms of on the stage, physically and so on. But in terms of audience, no. But I have experimented. I failed a few times, but I kept trying and I went on doing it. I have picked up so many new things in my career that I've failed more times than I've succeeded. But again, that's about keep trying, play a game. This is just like a game. Attend your interviews. There is no charge to attending your interviews. Keep doing it, and I'm sure you'll be successful at the end of the day. So with this team, again, I have lots of viewpoints that I've taken. Let me see if I can quickly address any questions. But I would, since there's so many questions, I'll honestly take your feedback and take your questions through the last poll that I've just conducted and post them on the website. So please do come back, ask your questions in here, put your points in here. I would love to share. I would love to answer all of these and publish them. So with this, I come to the end of the session. I really appreciate each of you taking time being here. Thank you so much for participating in the short webinar. Hopefully, we'll come up with more related presentations in the future. And may God bless you. Have a great holiday season and wish you the best luck in your job hunt. Take care. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.